Right now, like today in April 2026, you probably have tools sitting on your company server that could run your operations better than your current team.
Yeah.
And I don't mean 5 years from now. I mean right now. We have single employees doing the work of 10 people using autonomous AI.
Hmm.
And yet, and this is the crazy part, if you look at the overall corporate landscape, it feels like we're just wading through molasses.
Oh, absolutely. It's the ultimate bottleneck of our generation. I mean,
Right.
we've managed to solve the computing problem, right? But we are just completely paralyzed by the human problem.
Exactly. So that's our mission today. We are doing a deep dive to unpack this massive, what industry insiders are calling the adoption gap.
Right, the adoption gap.
Yeah, it's this huge space between the incredible tech we have and our actual, willingness to use it. And to do this, we're pulling from three main sources today.
And they are really eye-opening when you put them all together.
They really are.
Yeah.
So first, we've got this great piece by Rodrigo Gutierrez called AI Adoption for Enterprises in 2026. The gap isn't technical, it's human. Second, we're looking at a comprehensive enterprise-scale report from Kon'nichiwa about how agentic AI is being deployed.
That Kon'nichiwa report is fascinating, by the way.
Oh, it's so good. And third, we have an executive directive focused on solving these high-stakes operational bottlenecks and curing what people are calling pilot fatigue.
Right. And, when you lay those three sources out side by side, it gets a little uncomfortable, honestly, because the stakes are so high. The bottleneck today in 2026, it isn't the code.
No.
It isn't the LLMs or the processing power. It's human psychology. It's a failure of leadership to actually redesign how we work.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand why we're dropping the ball here, we first have to talk about the leap from generative AI to agentic AI.
Yeah, that distinction is, it's the foundation for everything we're going to talk about today.
Right. So, wait, isn't this just the same old chatbot technology with a shiny new agentic marketing label slapped on it?
Yeah.
Like, how is this fundamentally different from what we've had for the last couple of years?
I hear that all the time. The industry is notoriously terrible at naming things. But generative AI, the stuff from a few years ago, like traditional chat GPT, it's fundamentally reactive.
Okay, reactive how?
It's prompt-driven. It waits for you to ask it to write a poem or, draft an email. It just sits there.
So is generative AI like a smart microwave where I still have to put the food in and push the buttons? Whereas agentic AI is like hiring a private chef who actually checks my fridge, goes to the grocery store, and serves dinner.
That is exactly it. I love that analogy. It perfectly captures the proactive nature of agentic AI. The key there is the grocery store run.
Right.
Because that represents the cross-system capability. An AI agent doesn't just sit in a browser window generating text. It understands a goal, breaks it into steps, and executes actions across your CRM, your ERP, Slack,
It's
whatever.
doing the actual workflow.
Exactly. It learns from the outcomes, and it only escalates to a human when it really needs to. The Kon'nichiwa report actually breaks this down into 5 distinct layers.
Oh, yeah, the 5 layers. Let's go through those quickly. First is perception.
Yeah, perception. The agent senses the environment, reading data across ATIs. Then comes the second layer, which is reasoning.
So it's not just guessing.
No, not at all. It interprets the data and figures out the context. Then layer 3 is planning. It actually maps out a step-by-step sequence of tasks.
Like a project manager.
Pretty much. And layer 4 is execution. This is where it goes out and actually manipulates the systems, sends the emails, updates the databases.
And the last one is learning.
Right. It evaluates its own execution and refines its future performance.
That's just wild. And, the stats back this up. A 2025 Google Cloud study showed that 52% of enterprises have deployed AI agents in production. And the market is supposed to hit, $103.28 billion by 2034?
Yeah, the money pouring into this is staggering. Because the real-world applications are already here. Look at Contraforce.
Oh, the cybersecurity example from the text.
Right. They use planning agents to manage incident response. They've automated 80% of their investigations. 80%.
Wow.
Yeah, and then there's Fujitsu. They deployed specialized agents for data analysis and market research, and they reduced their sales proposal time by 60%.
Okay, so the chef is ready to cook, the meals are 60% faster, and 80% of the prep work is automated. Which brings us to the million-dollar question. Why is everyone starving in the dining room?
That is the perfect way to put it.
Like, if it's this good, why aren't we all using it everywhere?
And this is where we hit what the executive directive calls pilot fatigue.
Right. Pilot fatigue. So let's talk about the Deloitte survey from 2025.
Yeah, the numbers here are wild.
They really are. It says 90% of employees have used generative AI at work, but only 13% of organizations consider themselves early adopters.
That huge gap right there, that's the adoption gap. The tech is sprinting, but adoption is just limping along.
So what exactly is pilot fatigue? Because it sounds like something you get from watching too much TV.
It basically means these enterprises have dozens of successful proofs of concept. You know, they build a really cool sales assist, co-pilot, or compliance bot. The pilot is a huge success, high fives all around,
Right.
but then it just gets stranded there and never scales.
Oh, yeah. Think about your own company right now. You probably have a Slack channel filled with like 50 different cool AI tools that no one actually uses for their core job.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's usually because it doesn't plug into the ancient database you're forced to use every day.
That's the bolt-on problem. Companies are buying this amazing AI and just bolting it onto broken legacy systems.
Just slapping it on top.
Right. They're creating these expensive, fragile overlays. And that's why Gartner came out with that chilling prediction.
Oh, right. The one about canceled projects.
Yeah. They predict that over 40% of agentic AI projects will be canceled by the end of 2027.
Wait, really? 40%? That's billions of dollars just flushed away.
Down the drain because they automated broken processes instead of actually redesigning them.
It's like trying to run a high-speed train on rusty wooden tracks.
It's exactly that. But look, the broken legacy systems are really only half the battle here.
What's the other half?
The other half is what happens inside the human brain when we're asked to hand over the reins to a machine.
Ah, right. The human wall.
Yeah. Gutierrez breaks this down into 3 universal forces of resistance. If you don't understand these, your AI project is going to die.
Okay, let's dive deep into these. Force 1 is control.
Yes. And Gutierrez uses this amazing airplane autopilot analogy.
Oh, this blew my mind when I read it.
So commercial flights today are 90 to 95% automated.
Yeah.
The autopilot can land a plane in fog so thick that the human pilots are literally blind.
Yeah, they can't see the runway at all.
Exactly. But despite the machine being vastly safer in those conditions, fewer than 1% of commercial landings are fully automated.
Wait, fewer than 1%? Why?
Because pilots and passengers want human hands on the controls. It feels safer, even if the data says it's not.
That is so irrational.
Completely irrational, but it's deeply human. And in business, it's the exact same thing. You give a team an AI agent, and their first question isn't, is it accurate?
Let me guess, it's can I override it?
Yes. Can I turn it off? We resist because it takes the lever out of our hands. We crave control.
Wow. Okay, so that's force 1. What's force 2?
Force 2 is invisibility.
Invisibility, like we literally don't see it working.
Exactly. Take the story of AlphaFold.
Right. The protein folding AI.
Yeah, it solved the protein folding problem back in 2020. This is a process that would have taken human researchers millions of years. AlphaFold did it in months.
Which is just insane. They won the 2024 Nobel Prize for that.
They did.
Right.
And it's currently being used by over 3 million researchers to do things like fight cancer and break down microplastics. But
no one in regular business has ever heard of it.
Exactly. Almost no one. We are drowning in noise about what AI might do in the future, but we're totally blind to what it is doing quietly in the background.
So if the win is invisible, people just don't care.
Right. If you don't see it, your trust in it starts at 0.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because force 3 algorithm aversion, this is the climax of Gutierrez's argument. And this one made me physically uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is the hard truth. There was a 2025 study of 2,000 patients.
Yeah.
They found that patients trusted their doctor less when they were told AI was used to help with the diagnosis.
That's wild.
And they trusted the doctor more when told no AI was used at all. They actively preferred a less accurate option just because it felt human.
Even though the text mentioned a Microsoft system that was, what, 4 times more accurate at a 20% lower cost?
Yes, we will literally choose human error over machine precision. But it gets worse. Look at the UVA ChatGPT study with the doctors themselves.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about this, because ChatGPT alone had a 92% diagnostic accuracy, right?
Right, 92%.
But then they gave it to doctors to use alongside their own judgment. And wait, you're telling me that giving a highly trained doctor a super accurate AI actually made the final diagnosis worse?
Yes, accuracy actually went down.
How is that mathematically possible? Like, shouldn't they complement each other?
You would think so, but it comes down to human ego. When the AI disagreed with the doctor's gut instinct, the doctor would just override it.
No way.
Yes. We expect machines to be 100% perfect, which is impossible. So the second there's friction, we choose our familiar human intuition over the accurate algorithm, even when the data is screaming that we're wrong. The doctors got less accurate because they couldn't let go of their ego.
That is just, wow. So if the software is ready, but we are terrified of losing control, we demand absolute perfection, and we're actively making the AI worse when we try to use it. How does a leader, or even just a regular employee, actually fix this in their own workflow?
It requires a total paradigm shift. You have to stop treating AI as an IT deployment problem.
Like, oh, just install the software and we're good.
Right. Here's your login. Go be productive. That doesn't work. McKinsey, Microsoft, Deloitte, they all agree that workflow redesign is the #1 factor for AI-driven business impact.
Okay, so how do we actually redesign it? The executive directive talks about this 3E framework.
Yes. Effectiveness, enablement, and embedding.
Let's break those down. First one, effectiveness.
This means stop making random bots just to look innovative. You have to define 1 to 3 strict business outcomes.
Give me an example of that.
Sure, like reducing days sales outstanding, the time it takes to get paid by clients. You only sponsor AI projects that are strictly tied to that exact KPI.
Okay, makes sense. So no more fun projects. What about the second E, enablement?
Enablement is all about the data. You have to clean the data. You need standard data contracts so your agents are calling the exact same APIs. If your data is a mess, your agentic AI is just going to do messy work faster.
Right, garbage in, faster garbage out.
Exactly. And then the final E is embedding. And this is the psychological fix. You have to redesign roles. The agents have to be treated as first-class process participants, not just sidecar tools.
Humans and agents co-owning the metrics.
Yes.
I really want to make this concrete for you, the listener, because the Kon'nichiwa report shows exactly how companies are doing this embedding phase. They're creating these highly specialized personas.
Yeah, this strategy is brilliant.
Right, like they have DocGPT for document retrieval. They have Jennifer, who just handles calls and scheduling. Carl does data and chart generation. Alan is for summarizing legal contracts. Susan handles PII redaction for the EAP and GDPR compliance. And Mike is basically a math and formatting proofreader.
Notice what they're doing there. These aren't generalized chatbots. They are highly specific digital colleagues.
Right, you don't ask Carl to write a poem.
Exactly. You ask Carl for the Q2 revenue charts. And by doing that, you actually reduce that algorithm aversion we talked about, because you're giving the AI a distinct bounded role. It doesn't feel like an omnipotent threat to your entire career.
It's just Carl from accounting.
Right, it's just Carl.
Okay, so for everyone listening, the directive actually has an immediate execution step. They call it the 48-hour challenge.
I love this challenge. It's so actionable.
Right, so the next 48 hours, you need to categorize all your AI projects or even just your personal AI usage into 3 buckets.
Bucket A, B, and C.
Yeah, bucket A is for anything tied to a financial or risk KPI. Bucket B is just general productivity, like summarizing emails. And bucket C is fun experiments with 0 metrics.
And what do you do next? You freeze everything in bucket C immediately, cut the funding, cut the time.
Shut it down.
Yes. And then for bucket A, you assign an accountable human owner. If no human is accountable for its success, it's going to die in the pilot phase.
This framework makes perfect logical sense. I mean, it really does. But there's a cultural, almost emotional component to this that we just can't ignore.
No, we definitely can't.
If we bring in Carl, Ellen, and Susan to do the charts and the legal briefs, what happens to the human team?
And that is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. 87% of enterprise leaders say that internal resistance, specifically the fear of replacement, is a massive barrier to adoption. People are scared.
Of course they are.
And leaders have to address that timeline too. IBM notes it takes 18 to 24 months to realize tangible benefits from agentic AI. It's not overnight. You have to be patient.
And we also have to talk about security, right?
Yeah.
Because autonomous agents need governance. You can't just let them run wild in your ERP.
Oh, absolutely not. Look at CrowdStrike's acquisition of Panja Cyber. That's a perfect example of the massive investment happening right now in AI-specific security.
We're building the seatbelts.
Exactly. But to get back to the human element, because that's really the core of this whole deep dive there, is this powerful anecdote from the bio of one of our source authors.
Yes. The factory worker story.
Yeah. The author is an engineer, and they tell this story about watching factory workers handling live grenades on an assembly line.
Just terrifying work.
Right. And the engineer didn't build a robotic arm to, disrupt the industry or get a flashy headline.
We're gonna fire everybody.
Exactly. They built it out of fear for the workers' physical safety. The financial savings were great, sure, but the message the workers got to send home, "I'm safe tonight," that mattered way more.
That is just such a profound mindset shift. Because real technology doesn't replace people, it restores them.
That is beautifully put.
I mean, think about it. If you're listening to this, you have grenades in your job right now. They aren't literal explosives, but they're the tedious, soul-crushing tasks that burn you out.
The dangerous, error-prone tasks.
Yeah. And Gutierrez has a stat that backs this up. Companies with strong AI adoption cultures have double the employee satisfaction. 71% are thriving versus just 37% at other companies.
Because when it's implemented correctly to take away those grenades, people actually thrive. It's all about quiet impact over loud disruption.
I love that. Quiet impact. So what does this all mean for you?
Well,
Let's recap real quick. The tech is here. Agentic AI is capable of running multi-system workflows today.
yeah.
But the bottleneck is our own human need for control and our aversion to algorithms.
Right.
And the fix is redesigning the workflows. Tie those agents strictly to KPIs, bound them into personas, and remember that AI is here to restore our humanity, not replace it.
Honestly, it's a hopeful message. And I have to leave the listener with this one final, slightly unsettling thought to mull over.
Oh boy. Okay, lay it on us.
We spent this whole deep dive talking about how humans are evaluating AI, right? How our ego causes us to override it and actually make outcomes worse, like in the UVA study.
Yeah.
But as agentic AI becomes deeply embedded in your enterprise workflows and it starts tracking ROI perfectly,
Good.
what happens when the AI starts evaluating us? Think about it. In the near future, the biggest metric on your performance review might not be how much work you produced. It might be your override penalty.
Your override penalty.
Yeah. How often did your human ego step in, ignore the data, override the system, and actively cost the company money?
That is terrifying, but also totally logical. So take a look at your own workflows today. Ask yourself where you are gripping the steering wheel way too tightly. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you next time.